Okay, so we into week 5 where we're looking at these quadratic equations. And so we start this off with a couple of word problems where it says, what is the first step when factoring any polynomial? Your first step, so I'll accept a couple of answers, but I'm basically looking for that you always look for a GCF. Okay, so somehow you just got to put on there, you should always look for a greatest common factor. Like you should look to factor something out. Question 2 said, what should you look for before applying any factoring technique? So again, you should look for a GCF first. Then secondly, you should see number of terms, right? Because that's going to determine whether or not you can reverse FOIL or if you can work one of your special factorization. Number of terms. So again, this is going to be a couple of a couple of different answers I'm going to accept. Also, you can look for some type of patterns. Okay, and again, that's with those special factorization, like your difference of squares and things like that. So patterns. All right, so question 3 says factor completely. So we got 6x squared plus 12x. So I got 12 terms. This is not a subtract sign, so I know this is not a difference of squares. However, if I look at both of these terms, they both contain 6x in them. So if I divide out 6x, that's going to leave me with x plus 2. Right? And I can check this by saying, okay, if I distributed the 6x back to the x, that's going to give me 6x squared. And if I distribute the 6x back to the 2, that's going to give me a plus 12. I'm back to the original question. Therefore, I know that 6x parentheses x plus 2 is factored. Looking at question 4, we got 3y cubed minus 6y squared plus 9y. So I see the y's in all of these, and I also see a 3. So I have a 3y, that's my GCF. And now that's going to leave me with y squared minus 2y plus 3. And so now I want to make sure that this trinomial is not factorable. All right, so normally a trinomial is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, I say that because I'm about to start talking about the c term and the b term, right? So anytime I have a trinomial, first thing I want to do once I take out my GCF is look at the c term, and I want to say, okay, are there factors of positive 3 that will give me a difference of negative 2 when I add them or subtract them, right? So negative or positive 3, the only way you're going to get that is 3 times 1, or you can say negative 3 times negative 1. If I add these together, I'm going to get either a positive 4 or a negative 4. And since I can't find factors of 3 to give me a sum or difference of negative 2, I know that this isn't factorable, this trinomial. Therefore, this is as factored as this question will get. So this will be my final solution. All right, so 5 and 6 says factoring trinomials of the form of ax squared plus bx plus c with a GCF. So first, again, you want to see in 5, 4x squared plus 12x plus 8. All of these have a GCF of 4. So I can rewrite this as x squared plus 3x plus 2. And now again, I want to see if I can figure out my C term, right? So this will always be your C term. This will be your B term. So this is going to be positive 2. This is going to be positive 3. So 2 times 1 is going to give me 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Therefore, I know that this can still factor to x plus 2, x plus 1. And then I still have my 4 on the outside as my GCF, right? So if I foiled this back together, if I just said x plus 2, x plus 1, I foiled that, I'm going to get x squared plus x plus 2x plus 2. Combine my like terms, x squared plus 3x plus 2. And then, of course, there's the 4 that needs to distribute to all 3 of these terms, which is going to give me a 4x squared plus 12x plus 8. Back to the original question, right? Therefore, I know that this is my final solution. All right, question 6 says 5y squared minus 20y plus 15. So all of these terms have a GCF of 5. So if I factor that out, I get y squared minus 4y plus 3. And so now I want to look for terms of a positive 3 that will yield me a negative 4. So positive 3, if my C term is positive and my B term is negative, then both of my terms for C must be negative, right? So I know that negative 1 times negative 3, this is a times, is going to be positive 3, and negative 1 plus negative 3 is going to be negative 4. Therefore, I know that my factors is going to be y minus 1, y minus 3. And it doesn't matter like where you put if you put y minus 3 times y minus 1, it doesn't matter the order of your binomials. All right, so that completes our first page. So I'll go ahead and make another video with our second page and then make a third video with our third page. Talk to you shortly.